Okay, guys, this is what you do when you want to make some picture for your pixel. So the resources are included available. So let's start. So I'm going to open my Pixel Lab. So this is the welcoming environment of every Pixel Lab. So I'm going to delete this text. Now I'm going to add a new layer by using the clicking on the plus icon. I add a new layer. That is, I'm creating a new layer. This layer now is going to contain the shapes. This shape I'm drawing. So I'm going to use it to cover the initial background that was there. So I'm giving it. Um, I'm going to go to the option menu. Make sure it's selected. Then go to gradient, fill color gradient. Then click on the plus icon. Not the plus icon. Scroll down. Scroll left to right to say you see this color. You click on this one. Then you can select it to be this way using these blocks. This block at the top to give it direction. So I'm selecting this the fourth block. One, two, three, four. So the fourth one, this is the one I'm using for the background. So I'm going to give it. Then after that, I'll press good. Check. I'll press good. So after I've done that, I've created a background layer. You can see this is the background layer. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import my I'm going to import my resources. So I'll click on the plus button and select from gallery. So after selecting from gallery, so guys, I'm going to select the resources. So the first resources I'm going to select is this one, the road. I'll click on OK. Then I'll hide my layer. So this is what we use in hiding our layer. Once you click on this icon, it's that is blinking. It previews the layer, and once you click it again, it hides the layer. So I'm going to expand it. If I haven't covered, you shift it a little and expand again. So after I've expanded this layer, the next thing I do is to lock it so that it will not disturb me. I'll click on the layer to make it visible and then click on the lock button. So that is the how to do that. So the next thing you do is to import the texture. Click on the plus icon, then import the texture from gallery. I'll be importing my texture. So I'm importing this texture that looks like this and click on OK, then expand. It's covering it, don't be afraid. So what you do, click on the layer, make it visible. Now take this layer downward, make sure you click on those dots. That is where you place your hand. Those dots that is at the left hand side, that is where you click. Once it bends, it means it's movable, so you move it downward. So now this is at the back of the road. This layer road is now at the back. If you check your design now, it is at backward. So the next one we import is the paper. We import the paper, rumput paper. So this is a rumput paper. So we import it, so and expand it. After expanding it, you take the layer also backward. So we are going to take this layer backward. It's going to be on top of this one. Don't worry, we're going to see how if it's on with Adobe Photoshop, it is much easier. You can blend it. We have different blending options. We have multiply, we have overlay, but that is not a problem. So we'll just put this. So the next thing we do um, is now to work on the background opacity. So I'll click on this layer to select this first one. After that, I'll click on shapes, then locate opacity, then reduce the opacity. Can you see it? I'm reducing the opacity. I'll set it to 10 and press OK. Then click on this layer. There's one that looks like dot, like a speaker distinct texture. You click on it, then go to opacity and reduce it to what? Um, 10. No, it should be reduce it to 17. Reduce it to 12 or 14. 14 is okay because you'll be watching what you are doing. So that because you want the texture should be showing. So after doing that, the next thing we do is import our logo. Click on the plus sign, click on from gallery. So this is how you are importing. So I'm going to look at KJ Media. I have two, the one that is white. That's the one I'm importing. I hide my layer, then reduce it. Make sure it's small. So I've already make it to be small. So that's it. That is how to do it. So the next thing in line is to um, type a text. Type a text. The text is going to be um, edit. It's going to be welcome. Then move it and increase it a little bit. So after doing that, you go to your front face. Make sure that this is the letter A is highlighted so that to bring out the properties you can use to manipulate your text. So click on front face, select black sword if you have it installed on your phone. If you don't have it, you can select any other script font. So I'm using black sword for welcome. So after doing that, I will expand it a little bit. Then I will now go to color, select gradient and this. So this color was customized by me. It didn't come with Pixel Lab. So I'm going to show you how I customized this color. So what I did was I copied the color code of the text. So I click on the plus sign. I'll delete this one. I'll delete this one. So I'll click on minus to remove. So the plot, this one that I'm moving now, that is like this, I'm moving this way, is yellow. So I have yellow and orange. So this yellow now has a color code. So that is what you use on your own. So the color code for this now is once I click on this eyedropper, the color code when I click on this edit button. So this is the color code FFCC00. So when you type in this color code, this code here, once you type in the code, it's going to give you the color I use. So FFCC00, that's the color code for yellow. So once you type it, you press OK. Then the second one, the same thing. You might be using another color, it might not be this, it might be used. So once you do it, the color will change to the color I'm using now. So click on the eyedropper, this thing that looks like a paint bucket. So once you click on that paint bucket, you click on the second pencil, this one here, not after the first one, the second one. You will see something like this. So this is the color code I use for the for to create my orange. So just type in that. You don't need to input these values. Just type this first one, FF7E00, and press OK. It will generate the color code. So you press OK. So and OK. So this is how I create welcome. The next thing we are going to do is give it an outline so that it comes out. Press OK. So I'm going to go to stroke. Still on this text property, I'll click on stroke, enable it. It's giving us a white outline. Suppose I want it to have a double color, I'll use gradient. But I don't want it to have a double color, so I use just a single color. So I select color, and select white. Then I will now go to the stroke width and now increase it. Are you seeing it? So I now increase this to be bold, giving it 25 is okay. You can increase it depending on the size you set it to. So after that, I'll press OK. The next thing I do is to type another text, click on edit to create a new text. Then I edit it. I'll type to the month in small letter and press OK. Then take it up. Then change the font face. Change the font face. Um, change the font face to, let's set the font face to, go for the font face, change it and give it, go to my fonts and use this one, this Agrivance Avengers. So use this one and said okay. So to the month. So this one just turn it to capital letter, but that doesn't matter. So we are going to do this. Then this time around, we are going to leave the white. Now we are going to give the outline a gradient color of the initial one. So we go to stroke, enable. Then instead of selecting color, we select gradient, switch to gradient, and select the color we formulated that we customize, and then increase it. Maybe give it 16 or more. So then take it up, take it up. So that's it. Don't forget to screw this, take it this way, then take this one this way. So this, I'm trying to adjust it to be nice. So that's it. So the next thing in line is for us to import our 3D test. So let's import our 3D test. Importing our 3D test, let's import it. Click on test, choose from gallery. So we import our 3D test. Okay. Then you expand it. Now your caption should be bolder than any other thing. Your caption should be bolder than any other thing you are working on. So we are making sure our caption is bold enough to comprise the area. So I'm bolding it. Can reduce it a little, it's too bold. Just something like this. Okay. Then the next thing you do is to import the small boy. Import the boy from gallery. Then you import the boy. So this is the boy. Say okay. So I import the boy. So I'm going to reduce the boy so that the perspective the perspective is gonna change. So then I've imported the boy. So the next thing I do is to import April. Import April. So I've imported April. Now the April is at the top, so you have to send the layer backward. So you click on layer, select this, take it to the boy. It should be below the boy. So hide the layer to see this. Then you can expand it. So I'm expanding this so you can see. I can see. I've finished expanding. The next thing I'm going to do is to click on the layer to create another shape. So I'm going to create a shape. Then I'll make sure that it does not cover. I'm shifting it to letting it. You can shift it and then expand again. So take it back, it will hide. So I'm going to give it the color I gave. um I'm going to use gradient, the color I customized. So I'll select this one. You can click on the plus sign and select the fourth one to look like this and click OK. So the design something, you have something like this. So the next thing you do is to add your shadow. Press OK. So plus icon from gallery, you add your shadow. This is not the shadow, so I'm deleting this one. So plus icon from gallery, we are importing our shadow. I think this is the shadow. Yes, this is the shadow. You can see how it looks like. So import our shadow, expand it. You can expand it. So I'm going to take this backward. Go to layers, take the shadow backward. Should be somewhere here. Yes, it can be above April. Yes, above April, so that you have a black distance. So after that, you go to select your April. Then for the texture of this April, so it will look as if it was written on the floor. You have to reduce the opacity of the texture. So reduce the opacity of the text. I seen it. I reduce the opacity so that the concrete or the floor will also be affected on the test. So this is a blend mode that I just learned on Pixel Lab without using the automatic blend mode. So we are getting something like this. So after that, the next thing you do is to add a text. Welcome to the month of double exploit. So you type edit the text. So I'll click on this text box, edit. So double of double. So I'll type double. Okay. Then go to font face and my font. Then I use the same font I use there. You can see that we are not using much font. We have only used two fonts. We have only used two fonts face in our design. So that is, you don't use more than three fonts. The highest is for, sometimes in my design I use just two, sometimes three. So you can see. So I set it here of double. So the next thing I do is type in another text by creating text, drag it and say edit and type in small letter I, design, I, print, I, brand. So your I will be a small letter, the other things will be capital. Say okay. To look like this, the next thing you do is to change the front face. So I'll be using blood. So I go to front face, my font, I'll be using blood. So I'll go for B. So where I see blood, bloody, yes. So this is what I do. Then I go to um, bold, that is bold, and style it, make it an italic. Then I will now reduce it. Style, bold, style, italic. Okay. So I'll take it here and reduce it. It's running away. Don't worry, we'll solve it. So I'll reduce it. Then so this is how to do it. I design, I print, take it here. It's running. you run with you. So this is how to conquer the trick. So remove it. I design, I print, I brand. So the next thing you do is import your social media icon. So we are importing our social media icon. So shapes. Sorry, we're going from gallery to import. So these are social media icon. We'll be using white and we will import. So we'll reduce it. You see, there's a social media icon I write here. So I'll write here. Then I'll click add another text and type edit King J Media underscore J underscore media. So I'll reduce the fonts. I can change the font style, go to font face, then you can use this one, blogger, and say okay. I reduce it. So anytime a text is so small and you cannot manipulate it with your hand, you can use position. Then set this the moving speed to 3 because it's so tiny. So I'm using these arrows to either take it up or down. So that is how to do it. So it's still not balanced. So I will still go to that position, take it up a little bit, take it up. That is okay. Position, I'll say up, take it up. Okay. So that's it. Uh, the next thing we do is to type in our phone number. So the phone number, I'll type test, edit, phone number, decay that is a Nigerian number. So use plus 234 802 A7A6923. Okay. So I'll change the font face as usual. Make sure you're in the text property. So select font, my fonts, then select the ones we have been using. So the icon will change to, let me show you. It will change to this emoji. So for us to remove the emoji, we have to move this highlighted text to this point, then use another font to correct it and say okay. So it now has a plus sign. So the next thing we do now is to import our social media icon again, invite it from gallery. Social media icon, you are using white. Okay. Now we are going to remove the ones we will just want, just one. So we're going to remove the one we don't want. So we are going to go to shape and look for eraser. Eraser. So we are going to use eraser, increase our brush to clean off these areas that we don't want. So we clean it very well. Make sure you take your time to do that. Then I'll say okay. So you see now those ones are cleaned off. So we now have just one social media icon. So I will still reduce it. Make sure that it does not pass the frame. So after doing that, then I'll now use shape to design shapes. Use shapes to design by adding another layer. Click on the plus icon, shapes. So I use shapes. So I'm just going to take this thing here, just drag it here. So after doing that, I'll press plus and make sure it's a bit big, a little. Then I'll go to position. Then I'll take it down. I see it, take it down and be moving it. After that, you click on the plus icon. No, you click on the pencil to duplicate. When you duplicate, it appears at the top here, making it two. So this time around, the plus is going to be smaller. So make it small. Okay. Then use the position to move it. You can increase the speed. So this is it, and then move it. Then you can reduce the speed to remove it small, an inch. So there is it. Then move it. So this was how this was created. So that was how this was created using Pixel Lab. So give it a try. Give it a try. Give it a try.
Thanks for watching. At King J Media, for more inquiries, WhatsApp 0802878693.